I'm Terry, a 38-year-old cop who spends most of my days patrolling the streets with my partner Dusty. Our job is a lot like the dynamic duo from Bad Boys, Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. Dusty is more than a partner. He's like a brother to me. And together we're out there catching the bad guys and keeping the streets safe. Being on the streets all day does take a toll on my personal life. I was married to Nancy, who was 35 when we got divorced. I know my job keeps me away from home more than I'd like, but I try my best to make up for it by taking Nancy out and keeping her happy. It's a constant juggle finding that balance between work and personal life, but I believe in the importance of both. As I tried my best to maintain a balance between work and my personal life, I couldn't help but notice changes in Nancy's behavior. It seemed like she was spending more time away from home after her office hours. One evening, after a particularly busy day on the streets, I found myself sitting across from her at the dinner table, trying to broach the subject gently. I said, "Hey Nancy, I've noticed that you've been spending more time outside of the house lately. Is everything okay?" I wanted to open up a conversation without sounding accusatory, giving her the space to share what might be on her mind. Nancy sighed and hesitated for a moment before responding. "It's just been really hectic at work, and I needed some time to clear my head. I didn't want to burden you with it." Her explanation made me realize that perhaps there were challenges she was facing that she hadn't shared with me. In that moment, I tried to empathize and let her know that I was there to support her. "I understand work can be tough. I want you to feel like you can talk to me about anything. We're a team, and I'm here for you," I reassured her. Despite my efforts to address the issue, it seemed that things didn't change much, and Nancy continued with her frequent outings with friends. The strain on our relationship was becoming more apparent, causing trouble at home. I found myself feeling increasingly frustrated as the pattern persisted. One weekend, when I had hoped we could spend some quality time together, Nancy informed me that she had plans with her friends yet again. It was becoming a routine, and it left me feeling neglected and disconnected. One evening, after she returned from another outing, I mustered the courage to express my feelings. "Nancy, I've been trying to be understanding, but it feels like we're growing apart. I miss spending time with you, and it's affecting our relationship," I said, attempting to convey the impact her constant outings were having on our home life. Nancy, however, seemed defensive. "I need my space and time with friends. It's not about us. It's about me having a life outside of our relationship," she explained, not fully grasping the toll it was taking on our connection. The tension at home escalated, and it became clear that we needed to address this issue more comprehensively. I suggested couples counseling as a way to fix things. One day, as I was going about my routine, I stumbled upon something that shook me to the core. While Nancy was in the shower, her phone buzzed with a message. I wasn't intentionally snooping, but the notification caught my eye. Curiosity got the better of me, and I picked up the phone, only to discover explicit messages from an unknown sender. The discovery hit me like a punch to the gut. I couldn't believe what I was reading. The messages hinted at a level of intimacy that was entirely unexpected and left me feeling betrayed. It was a mix of shock, anger, and hurt, and I had to collect my thoughts before confronting Nancy. That evening, when we had a moment alone, I mustered the courage to address the issue. I tried to keep my emotions in check as I asked Nancy, "I came across some messages on your phone that were really explicit. Can you please explain what's going on?" She looked taken aback and stammered for a moment before attempting to downplay the situation. "It's just a friend from work, joking around. It doesn't mean anything," she insisted, avoiding eye contact. The explicit nature of the messages, however, made it difficult for me to dismiss them as harmless banter. She forgot that I am a cop. The shock and betrayal were overwhelming, and I couldn't shake off the nagging feeling that something was seriously amiss in our relationship. One day, curiosity got the better of me, and I found myself scrolling through her messages. To my dismay, the messages hinted at a level of intimacy that went beyond mere friendship. The pain and confusion I felt were indescribable. I knew I had to confront Nancy, but I wasn't prepared for what I would find next. Unable to shake off the suspicion that lingered after the explicit messages, I decided to take a leave from work to follow Nancy. It felt like a desperate move, but I needed to know the truth. My instincts led me to a scene I never imagined. Nancy with another man in the parking lot of a bar. Nancy had her top open, and the other man was just feasting on her body. For a second, my hand went towards my 9mm, but my mind said she is not worth the ammo that I will spend. The shockwaves of that moment pushed me to a dark place. Driven by a mix of hurt and anger, I resorted to installing spyware on Nancy's phone, hoping to gather evidence to support my divorce proceedings. Although it was a breach of privacy, and I recognized the ethical and potentially legal implications of my actions, I knew how to find my way around these things. As I delved into the contents of the cloned data, I stumbled upon the shocking revelation that Nancy had an active presence on Tinder. The sight of her profile on the dating app was like a gut punch, intensifying the pain that had already taken hold. What's more, her Tinder profile indicated that she had marked herself as unmarried. The messages with the new guy made it clear that he had no clue Nancy was married to a cop. I had a word with Dusty, as he knew something was amiss at first glance. I informed him that Nancy was cheating on me. He was angry, then calmed down and asked me to hand over my service arm. I told him I'm in control, and Nancy was not worth doing something stupid. He stated that I have all the evidence to get a divorce, and that I should start the proceedings. I agreed and spoke to a lawyer. I gave him all the evidence and asked to speed up the process. That same evening, I was with Dusty watching over the streets, and we saw a red Toyota Supra drive by at a speed higher than the permitted limit. Our lights lit up, and we followed the car. Once we put up the sirens, the car stopped, and I stepped out and walked up to the car. Nancy was in the car with her new guy. I knew I had to be professional, and I had to ensure that I stayed calm. I asked for the license and registration. The guy stated that he did not have them on him and must have left them at home. I asked him to step out. Dusty walked up to us, and I told him that I got this one. He walked back. He asked if both he and Nancy needed to come out. I asked both occupants to come out and put their hands on the car, and I frisked the guy. I asked him if he had been drinking tonight. He denied, and I asked him to do a walk-and-turn test. He did it. I asked him, "For how long have you known this woman?" He stated, "It's been a few weeks." "That is my wife, sir," I stated. The guy was stunned and said that he did not know she was married. He was shaking his head and said that he could not believe it. I stated, "Neither can I." I asked him to leave before I got angry, and he gave Nancy's belongings to her and apologized to me again. I stated, "No problem, you are not the married woman who made a Tinder account." He stepped into his car and left. I did not want to speak to Nancy, but words just spat out, and I said, "How could you do this to me?" She tried to say something, but I put up my hand and stated, "I have wasted 7 years on this." I told her to call her mom to pick her up from wherever we were. She tried to protest, saying, "Seriously?" I said, "Yes, seriously." I walked back and sat in the car. I got divorced, and I continued to do my job to keep the streets safe. Maybe a few years from now, I will settle down in love again.